Hello, you're watching Ellie from Elementary Paper Crafting. A week or so ago I showed you how I made the template and then went ahead and decorated this lovely fun fold card using the Peaceful Cabin bundle. Well, today I'm making exactly the same card fold, but I'm using Tidings and trimmings, and as you'll see you get a completely different effect. Exactly the same card, exactly the same fold. I've just applied the designer series paper here in a different way, so it gives a completely different effect. And as I say, I've used the Tidings and trimmings. Without further ado, I'm going to get on and show you exactly how I made this card. So here we are, and I'm starting off with a blank card template. I'll link the video where I showed you how to make this down below in the description box. So what you'll need to do is go and make that up first, and then we'll move on to the next section. So in this particular card, I have made up the backing paper, cut the DSP in a slightly different way. It gives a completely different effect. Now I've chosen this lovely little design, which is lots of little tiny stars and dots. I'll bring that up and make sure you can see that a bit better. And it's in crumb cake, which is quite a nice background colour, and because the design is small, it's not going to jump in your face. Now, this is quite a lot of cutting down. You can choose any of the beautiful designs that come in the 6x6 designer series paper pack, Tidings of Christmas. And if you buy the whole suite, this comes with it. And you receive 48 sheets, which is a lot of paper, and that's 6 designs, 8 sheets of each. When I say 6 designs, it's actually 12, because of course they are double-sided. So as you can see, you have a lot to choose from, but I'm choosing that crumb cake one today. So let's put that to one side, and the sizes to cut these down are going to be 8 pieces for the corners and these small pieces here, and they're all the same size, and that size is 4.5 centimeters square. So I'm going to do is I'm actually going to write that in there. Okay, and then that applies to all of those. So you need, if I put by 8, okay, and then the 2 matching pieces here, again, they need to be 4.5. If I put square there, these need to be 4.5 by 9.3. Okay, so that one and that one, and then that leaves us 3 to go along here, and those are all the same, and those are 9.3 centimeters square, and you need 3 of those. Okay, so I'm going to take my designer series paper, and I'm going to go away and cut all those pieces ready for the next part. So here we are, and I've got all those pieces ready cut. So there's my 3 pieces at 9.3. There's my 2 pieces at 4.5 by 9.3. And then my 8 small pieces, which all measure 4.5 centimeters. So I'm going to get all these stuck down. I won't do them all on camera because obviously that would be very boring. What I'm going to do is simply put one down just to show you what I find the easiest way. I'll use my Tombow multi-purpose glue, I just pop it down into position and move it until it has an equal border all the way round. This glue gives you a little bit of time to wiggle it a little to make sure it's exactly right. So I'm just going to go away, get all these stuck down and come back to you shortly. Okay, so that's all our DSP put down in all the various areas. And the next thing we're going to work on is creating these lovely shapes here that I'm going to line up across the middle. So I've made two in advance. So first of all, I used some more of the designer series paper to make the backing for the star, and I used this designer series paper, which I've also used for some of the stockings, but I'm using the other side. Again, like I say, two-sided, it gives you lots and lots of different options. So to make this backing star, if I turn it over, you'll see it's simply a smaller star within a larger. So the smaller star cuts out the little design that you see in the center of here, but also it cuts out as a star itself. So I'm going to cut that one out together, and then I'm also going to cut out the gold star for this, which will position the little cutout in a moment, because that will come from this. You'll see when I go and cut this out. So I'll be back in a couple of seconds. So here we are. So I've just simply cut out that gold star from a piece of gold foil, and that cuts beautifully. Whoops. And then from the designer series paper, I gently peel this off. You'll see that there's my star, and this one here, as well as cutting out the center, also cut this decorative star, which we're going to place inside the gold one. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is use the, okay, so here's the die that I couldn't find. It was buried under some cardstock. So to set this one up, what I tend to do is take a piece of low tack tape. Mine's the just post-it note tape, and I pop a piece just on in two areas, and then I take the central die, and then I want to get this in the middle. So I just move it around until I'm happy. Actually, it might be better if I just place that there for a minute and just put one piece on there, and then just play with it, move it around until you're happy that it's evenly spaced in each of the 5 points. It is a little bit tricky. I've got a sneaking suspicion it's not actually completely symmetrical to begin with, because I do find if I turn it, I do get a better fit. But the key is to get them right before you place it down onto the cardstock you're going to cut from. So I'm just going to pop that into my die cut machine on there. And while I'm running that through, I'm also going to cut out another of the stocking shapes. And that one is going to be used in the same DSP as the large star that I did earlier. So I'll just go and cut this out and I'll pop back in a second. So these are cut out now, and if I just show you the stocking shape there, and then my star. So the star, I'm just going to peel off this post-it note paper. I do use these over and over again, these bits of post-it note, which is why I try to peel them off quite slowly, because if I tear them, then I can't reuse them. So that's the frame that's going to stick onto there, and then just take that away, pop that over there to the side, and here is the center part of your die cut. This is the lovely sort of lattice cut here. Now it does look as if it's going to be very difficult to get all those bits out. It isn't. I always start by just tapping with the cut side up, just to get rid of all the loose bits to start with. But you will find, whatever die cutting machine you use, there will be some stubborn bits. But there's no need to worry, because you can buy these lovely little brushes. This is the original one that Stampin' Up used to sell. I don't believe they still sell this one, but what you can get is the I think it's called the Pick Me Up tool, and that has several attachments, one of the attachments being one of these brushes. And as you can see, this makes it really easy to just pop out all of those bits, and as you're doing it, it loosens the shape within the die so that it's really easy to remove. Okay, so now we've got those pieces. This is how I actually stick them together to get the best effect. So I'm using my multi-purpose Tombow glue again, and I just go just around the edge here, and I find it easier to put it on here rather than on the wrong side of the gold. And then I simply pick up my star, place it on, take my tweezers away, and then just go round with my finger and thumb and make sure that I get the two lined up, and then I press down. Now the only downside with using the gold and silver foil is that you can get your glue on it, and if you just leave it to dry off, it can look quite nasty. But if you do this while it's still wet, which is just to simply get a tissue and wipe off the glue while it's still wet, it will completely disappear, and at the same time you will shine up the gold or silver metallic, whatever colour you're using, so that it will have that lovely shimmer to it. Now to adhere this, I'm going to get that same glue, the Tombow multi glue, and I like to use my tweezers for this. Pick up my die cut and just go over like that, and that picks up a tiny little weeny bit of glue all over, and then you simply fit this in, and again use that tissue to help to stick it down into place and wipe away any excess glue. So that's how we make our 3 feature stars. And then to make this small star with the decorative centre, I do exactly the same. Just use that bit of glue on the back of my hand to pop onto the back and just lay this down. And there you have this little decoration made. Now you'll see from the stockings that I've already made, these have the nice little white top, like the fur on the top of Santa's boot. You take a piece of white cardstock, you pop just the top part of the stocking over the white piece, and then you just cut that out on your machine, and then you come back with this shape which will fit the top of your stocking. You'll probably find that you cut it a little bit further down, and all I did was just simply take my snips and just cut along the bottom there so that it matched. And I'm just going to use that glue again, the same glue, and just pop it on there so that it lines up with the top and sides. Okay, so I've actually gone ahead and made 4 stockings, which is what we need. And then with the rest of the stockings, I'm going to match these up. I used some more of the die cuts. You've got some little holly leaves there, and the bow cutter, and the way I made that bow was to actually stamp it using the stamp from the set, which is this one here. So you simply stamp that onto some basic white cardstock and then use the cutter to cut it out, and then you can add that. I like to add it on the top of a stocking, but you can put it anywhere on your card, on the holly leaf, but you can decorate these with anything you like. So I'm just going to go away and finish off all my stars and all my stockings, and I'll come back to you again. So all the die cuts are now all ready, and we're going to start to assemble the actual card itself. So let's bring in that piece we did earlier, and if you remember, the 3 big stars are going to go onto the central panels. Then I'm going to pop my smaller stars onto these 4 panels here, and then placing my stockings and this one here. Now you can see I've still got that glue on the back of my hand. You might be thinking, oh, that's going to be difficult to get rid of. Not at all. You simply rub it like this. It's dried, and when it dries, it rubs off really, really easily. And I can just pop that into the bin. And then all you have to do now is simply using that glue again. So I've used the same glue throughout this whole card. Now I like to pop things at a jaunty angle. I don't want everything to be, you know, dead straight everywhere. So the stockings I'm just going to pop down however I think looks pleasing to my eye. If you're a person who does like everything to be spot on and straight, then by all means, that's the way you do it. Okay, everything in card making, crafting is personal choice. So just go with your heart. You know, whatever makes your heart happy, that's what you do. That's what crafting's all about. It's about expressing yourself, having fun, and not having to go by anybody else's rules. I watch lots of other YouTubers, and I look on Pinterest, and I follow lots of different crafty people, and we all learn from each other, but we don't necessarily have to mimic each other. We just get ideas, different ideas from different people, and we put them together in our own way. And that's what art and craft is all about. So just popping all these down, and as you can see, I'm not sticking to one particular angle. I think it looks more interesting to have these pieces at different angles. However, I actually think that these 3 central stars, the focal points, do look better if they are at the same angle. But that's just my opinion. If you would like them to be at different angles, then please go ahead and that's what you do. So as you can see, these are really, really easy to stick all these shapes down, not difficult at all. So I'm not measuring or anything, I'm just doing this by eye, but I think that's more or less central. You know, you could do 3 completely different designs if you wanted to. As I say, when you're creating, it's your design, it's your decision, you do what pleases you. So here we are, and we are almost finished. The last part is to stamp the greetings that are going to go on our top and bottom little parts there. So let's get on and do that next. Okay, it came to choosing the greeting or sentiment that I wanted to use. So I had a look through my other Christmas stamp sets and came across Snowflake Wishes, and I thought, oh yeah, I like this one. Snowflake Wishes for a Merry Christmas. Thought that was really nice. And I've always liked It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year on the Tidings and Trimmings. So I've gone for these two. I felt my options were, colour-wise, were either the Cherry Cobbler or the Evening Evergreen. Couldn't actually make up my mind which single one to go for, so I've done one of each. So I chose the Evening Evergreen for Snowflake Wishes for a Merry Christmas and the Cherry Cobbler for It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year. And just to, you know, complement each other, I've reversed the actual cardstock that I've used to mat. And so for the one that I've stamped in Cherry Cobbler, I've used the Evening Evergreen cardstock for the mat. And I think that really sets it all off. So all that remains to be done is again using my same glue. See how versatile this glue is. I just used it for everything today. So I'm just popping that in, getting it to where I think it's central. Just put a little bit of pressure on there. You can of course have these the other way around. It doesn't make any difference at all. They look equally as good in both places. And so there we go. So that's our finished card. Even though it's exactly the same template and exactly the same fold that I used for the 2 Peaceful Cabin cards, as you can see, the profile is identical. If I put the 2 up together, so that's the Peaceful Cabin, and that's the one we just made with the Tidings, Snowflake, and that's the other Peaceful Cabin. They're all identical, but they all look different because of the colours and the different design and the different designer series paper. So I just thought you'd be interested to see how different things can look just using different stamp sets and colours, etc. So again, if you've enjoyed this, I'd really appreciate your thumbs up, following with my Facebook page, subscribing to my YouTube channel, watching more videos from me, and give me a thumbs up and sharing if you can. As usual, in the description box below, I will add a link to my online store and also a link to the digital catalogues. So if you don't have a paper copy and you don't wish to order one, you can look at the catalogues online. And again, if you'd like to purchase anything from Stampin' Up, I will link to my online store. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again very soon. Bye for now.